everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Monday Huddle. I am so excited you are here. I'm Dr. Dawn Hamby, CEO and founder of Dr. Dawn Shop Talk, and I am thrilled that you are part of our Monday revolution as we take back Monday and create a more positive future for you if you can kind of start to see Monday the way we do at Shop Talk. We call it our Monday Revolution because we believe everyone should start seeing Monday for what it really is, right? The beginning of your new work week, a fresh start and a new beginning. It's an actual strategy I've used with my own staff for years. So we hope that you join us each and every Monday and be part of our Monday Revolution by seeing Monday for what we think it really should have been all along. All right, you guys. Now, also remember that our Monday huddle, in the huddle, we only share 3 tips for the week because I really want you to be able to join us on your lunch hour when you can. So just kind of keep in mind as we take back Monday and make it as positive as we can, that our Monday huddle is really a small taste of what we can cover in our packages and presentations. Shop Talk is your place for online career and life coaching, resume reboots and career confidence boot camps, and we also offer corporate training and presentations to businesses and school districts. So just keep in mind that although we do talk about these tips, again, it's just going to be a small taste of what we could cover in our presentations. So for any information about what we can offer on Shop Talk, be sure to go to our website. It's scrolling right across the bottom of your screen there at drdawnshoptalk.com. Also, I want to mention to our audience that I can customize the packages for you and get much more in-depth in any presentation. We also can offer all of our services now online. Now, typically, a career or life coach might offer maybe a 20-minute free consultation. I believe 30 minutes is really what you need because that way we can spend a little bit more time kind of discussing what your needs would be to figure out if Shop Talk and any of our services would be a great fit for you. So be sure to reach out to me on Facebook or on our website, and I would love to see if we could help you. All right, you guys, let's move on to today's episode. I am so excited about this topic today. I'm entitling it, Let Your Work Ethic Be Your Resume. All right, you guys, let me talk a little bit more about what I mean about work ethic. Let's first start by defining what work ethic really is. Okay, so I want to share some thoughts with you today about that. Do you believe that work ethic is your ability to get the job done? Or is it your ability to get the job done well? Or is it the satisfaction of a job well done? Well, I personally believe that it's really a combination of all those things, along with the intrinsic joy you really can get from achieving a certain level of excellence. Now, I believe if you start to think of your work ethic that way, you can get really excited about work. Why? Because you'll start to see that work can affect your life in so many ways. And if you take this belief that you want to be, or at least strive to be, excellent in any kind of task that you take on, it really will spill over, not just in your professional life, but in your personal life as well. So, for example, if you're an office assistant, then make sure you're the best office assistant they've ever had. Come up with some sort of filing system, for example, that would really blow their mind. If you're a dog sitter, be the best dog sitter that client has ever had, resulting in you having so many referrals that you can't even keep up with your business. If you start changing your mindset, you guys, and start thinking of bringing that level of excellence to your work and to your personal life. Again, that point of view is what can help you land that dream job. Because oftentimes when I talk about that with clients, they're kind of stuck in this old way of thinking. And their attitude sometimes can be, oh, well, sure, Dr. Dawn, it's easy for you to say that because you have your dream job. How can I get excited about where I am now? Well, you guys, that's actually going to be one of the tips we're going to talk about today is how to change your mindset so that the job you currently have can become your dream job. There's some strategies you can use to kind of help yourself change your mindset, you guys. And if you really do that, You're going to get so much more joy out of what you're doing. Also, keep in mind that another philosophy to consider is that no job really is a waste of your time. In my personal and professional opinion, those jobs that lead you to the dream job are really stepping stones along the way to help you get there. So, you guys, I'm so excited to share my 3 tips with you today, and we're going to get started with those very, very soon. But before we do, as you guys know, I really, really believe that co-hosting the show can be such a great way to talk about these topics with the audience, because then I can bring a different point of view and kind of discuss these tips with you as more of a conversation, kind of like what we would do if you were actually sitting right here in my office discussing these topics today. So as a result of me absolutely loving having a co-host, when I thought about this topic, I could think of no better person to discuss work ethic with than Emilio Paul Tirado. Now, let me explain a little bit about why I've chosen this special guest. Emilio Paul Tirado is not only an actor and a comedian and a producer. He's someone I've kind of known for years because, well, he happens to be my brother. But you guys, even if he wasn't this devilishly handsome, charming young man that I've seen grow up, I still would have picked him or someone just like him. And the reason is because he is a great example of how young people, who I think get a terrible rap in terms of people thinking they never have a good work ethic, he is a great example of how many times that is not true. If you follow your passions and have the kind of support you need to show that you not only can be excellent in the workplace, but that you can have that kind of drive and professionalism in everything you do. So Emilio Paul was the first person I thought of, and I'm so excited that he's here. He's just joined us in our online studio. So audience, please welcome Emilio Paul Tirado to his first episode of the Monday Huddle, and hopefully not his last. Hi, Emilio. How are you on this Monday?
Hi there. Feeling devilishly handsome. Thank you very much.
As you should. Now, Emilio, I probably sounded a little biased, but is it really biased if it's true?
No, absolutely not. What makes you so professional?
Right. Absolutely. I am a professional, people. I know what I'm talking about, right? So we are so excited that you are here, Emilio. We're going to be talking about these 3 tips today. So I'm so excited to get started with that. So you guys, since I am speaking to a professional actor, I'm going to go ahead and get extra cheesy and say, ready, set, action. Is that the way we would say that in the entertainment world, Emilio?
Close enough.
Okay, great. All right, you guys. So we're going to actually get started with our very first tip today. Tip number 1. This is the dream job mindset. All right, you guys, let me talk a little bit more about what I mean about that. So as I mentioned earlier, when you take on a job, you want to be the best in that particular position. You guys, if you do that, it gets noticed because, again, you're bringing that level of excellence that may not have existed in that job before. And when you do that, you're going to learn a set of skills that are going to actually kind of make people take notice because you're giving that kind of quality. And that is so important. Also, if you think about where you are right now, and if you make that your dream job, it does a couple of other things for you psychologically. Okay. What it does is it helps to kind of set the wheels in motion. You're not waiting on anybody else to give you that promotion because you make it happen. So if you take your current job and just raise that bar and make sure you're giving it 150%, not only are you going to get this inner fulfillment because it feels good to give it your best effort, but also it's going to help lead to other jobs that might even be better suited for you. So what do you think about that advice, Emilio?
I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I apply that to, my days working in restaurants. That sort of mentality always really helped me. When I would come into a job, basically, I would look for opportunities to kind of where was a place I could outwork people? When you first start off in a restaurant, they'll put you in a smaller section sometimes, and some people see that as a negative and feel bad about the fact that they're making less money that shift, as opposed to seeing it for the opportunity it is, which is an opportunity to show that you're a team player, how hard of a work you can be. And then surprisingly, when you come in with that attitude, you don't wind up in those bad sections very often. And the kind of people who would focus on the negative and complain or wonder about why they weren't getting promoted or moved into a better section often didn't. Wasn't that surprising?
Yeah, it's almost like as a result, following your advice, it's like one thing really does lead to another, right? Because since you're not complaining, you're kind of anticipating that need and you're just working hard, that it seems like those promotions kind of naturally come about, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, you guys, he is right on it. So exactly, if you really think of it that way, you guys, not only are you going to feel like, man, I'm taking charge. I'm not having to wait for anyone to do anything. You're going to feel so much better really from the inside out, you guys. So that's definitely a great first tip for you guys. All right, the next tip we're going to talk about today, tip number 2, I call this the 3 W's. In other words, work, work, and work some more. Okay, so this is going to kind of piggyback off what Emilio said, again, that you're just working hard no matter what you get, whatever the interests are of your boss, whatever section you're working in, whatever the circumstances are, you're going to make the best of those circumstances. So let me explain a little bit more about what I mean about this. You guys, when they do research on the most successful people out there, who all started at the beginning, right? They started at the bottom and worked their way up. There are some common denominators that I want to talk about with you today. So, for example, did you know that the most successful people out there never feel entitled? When they're interviewed, they never talk about feeling like anything was owed to them. They knew the value of hard work, and they never were scared to go the extra mile. So you guys, if you apply that type of work ethic, it really does get noticed, because the same people who could be in charge of offering you that promotion, they're going to not only notice that you're working hard, it doesn't take long for them and your coworkers, by the way, to start talking about the fact that you're the first to arrive, you're the last to leave. It gets noticed. So if you continue to do that, those doors of opportunity really will be open to you. And then from that experience, you guys, you're going to build that credibility. In my opinion, both professionally and personally, especially when I'm advising clients about how to get that promotion, I tell them that all the time. You don't have to promote yourself to get the promotion. It always actually works to your advantage to let your work speak for itself. And by doing that, you guys, it's really going to build your reputation. It's going to build your expertise. It's going to build your credibility, because nobody wants to hang around someone who's constantly bragging about themselves. In my opinion, if you constantly have to do that, or if you're in a leadership position and you have to kind of remind people that you are the boss kind of thing, then you're really not. Right? So you don't have to remind people about your work ethic, because it's really going to shine through. So what do you think about that second tip, Amelia?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that as well. That I've actually been reading a book that just talks about general life advice called The Art of Worldly Wisdom. And one of the things it talks about in there is to not talk about yourself, because you can only go one of two ways. Either you can be, talk down about yourself and that looks self-pitying, or you can talk up about yourself and that looks like vanity. So honestly, it's better just to let other people talk about you, and just, to come in and your work ethic is the one thing you can control that nobody else can control too. And I think there's something nobody respects more than somebody who works hard and doesn't talk about it and doesn't come in looking for the accolades. People want to give those people accolades. But when you come in asking for it, talking about it, it's I've never seen that go well.
Right.
Either in restaurants or the artistic side either.
Right, and especially using restaurants, I think, is a great example, Emilio, because it's such a fast-paced, environment, right? And I think sometimes when you're in professions like that, people presume that they have to kind of like wave that flag and say, notice me, because so much is happening. What advice would you give, Emilio, to someone starting off, wanting to be the best, but they're working in a very fast-paced environment, a very competitive environment, and they feel like if they don't point out everything they're doing, it won't get noticed. Because you mentioned the book you're reading, you mentioned that people don't like that. So what would be your advice so that people don't get, sort of dismayed?
I think the easiest way is to focus on how you can help other people on the team, and people will notice that and then want to help you at the same time. Even if people aren't offering that to you initially and you feel like you're on your own, if you take that first step, if you reach out, people will notice that and they respond to it eventually. So if you're busy and overwhelmed and you see someone else busy and overwhelmed, take a second, even if it might cut into your time, and do something to help them, and then somebody might step in to help you when you really need the help. But it all starts with somebody has to take the first step, and the person who takes the first step, kind of has an advantage.
Absolutely. See, audience, I told you he knew what he was talking about. This is so true. And you guys, so often in the workplace, and this is true in career coaching, especially when I work with clients and when I was in public education, I was teaching students and helping them prepare for the workplace. We always said, be a team player. So people talk about that and they mention that all the time, but being a team player literally is that. As Amelia pointed out, don't just stand there. If you notice something needs to be done and you're afraid, oh, someone's going to take credit for my work, or so-and-so is so busy they don't notice me. Again, guys, it really doesn't take long to find out who's really doing all the work. And when you genuinely help out your team, really, sure, are there going to be some people who might take advantage of that and, maybe they're not as forthcoming or as honest? Well, sure, every industry is going to have those few people that show like, oh man, that guy was really something. But by and large, that's not true. Don't let fear drive the decision making. Remember, that was a whole other show and a whole other topic. Don't let the fear of, oh, somebody might take advantage of you not be that team player. Because as Amelia pointed out, not only can that help you when you really need help, but it's just going to help you along the way. It's going to build that credibility. It's going to get you noticed without you having to say a word, right? So back to the title of our show today, by doing that, your work ethic really does become your resume. Nothing else needs to be said. All right, you guys, this is usually the time where I let our audience members and remind our audience members to make sure that you like our content. Give us a thumbs up, because if you do, then we know this is a topic that really interests you, because I always want to make sure I'm customizing that for our audience. Be sure to share this information with anyone you think could benefit. Give us comments. As you know, we love that. And whenever we can, we try to give you an on-air shout out as well. All right, we're going to move on to tip number 3. This one I'm calling Take What You Love and Leave the Rest. All right, you guys, let me talk a little bit more about what I mean about that. When I say take what you love and leave the rest, what I mean is in every job, there are things you absolutely love about it, and there are things that maybe drive you crazy. And you're like, oh my gosh, I never want to do that again, or it's my least favorite task. What you want to do now, okay, after following tip number 1 and tip number 2, is you want to take the favorite parts of your current position, and then you want to pivot. In other words, you want to now start kind of creating opportunities for yourself. And the way to do that is, now that you've done this job, or maybe several jobs, you're really kind of discovering what you absolutely love. And many times what you love is also what you're really good at. So as a result, you're kind of honing those skills. You're becoming an expert in that area, possibly even becoming that go-to person, okay, whatever the case may be. But the best way to pivot and perhaps then start going towards another career opportunity is to let people know, not that you're looking for a new job, because people could always misunderstand that, think you're not happy at your position, or this person's just going from job to job. Instead, let people know that you're ready to take on new challenges. And I advise that for folks. I really do, you guys, because you don't know what those challenges would be. If you paint yourself in a corner and think, okay, I now need to leave this job. I've been here a year. I've been here 5 years, whatever the case is. I now want to go on to this other promotion. You don't want to paint yourself in a corner too much. You want to let people know you're ready for new challenges and opportunities, but you don't necessarily want to apply for many things all the time. Because in fact, that could backfire. It might make you look like you're not really committed to the work. So instead, just let people know that you're interested in new challenges. And then again, let your work ethic be your resume and see what new opportunities come your way. What do you think about tip number 3, Emilio?
I think that's solid stuff. I feel like if you really want to get anywhere, you kind of have to let people know. There's a difference between letting people know how good you are and letting people know what you want. I think there's, talking about how good you are is not such a great thing, but letting people know what you want and letting your goals be clear, I think is good. Sometimes management could miss somebody who might be looking to move to another level. Nothing wrong with letting people know where you want to go and possibly ask them for advice on how you can get there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I find, and I'm sure, Amelia, you've had a similar experience. I find that if you have at least a decent supervisor, right? And I feel like I've been so blessed to work with some amazing supervisors. I really have. But even when I talk to folks who maybe have supervisors themselves that are new or not really sure what to do, one thing that supervisors really appreciate is being asked for their feedback, being asked for their guidance. So if you reach out to your supervisor or even a colleague and say, look, I'm really interested in perhaps expanding, my opportunities in this area, or I've discovered I really love doing this particular task. Do you have any advice on how I can maybe do that more, or perhaps expand some opportunities for our company, our organization, whatever the case may be? You guys, people love that. They love being able to kind of reach out and kind of give you that hand up. So to Emilio's point, if you don't let people know that you're interested in new challenges, then again, it could be overlooked. So you definitely wouldn't want that, right?
And not letting fear, take control. One of the biggest steps I took in my life, I had saved up for a long time to move out to California to work in screenwriting. And after I'd been there for only a few months, realized that what I really wanted to do, instead of waiting for all these different people to approve of my scripts to finally get it on screen and have it performed one day, was to get on stage and perform that night, which is how I moved over to stand-up comedy. And once I started doing that, my life changed completely. I wound up moving to Austin, Texas, where I have family and a much better work life. And, none of that would have been possible if I'd been too scared to stay with what I was doing. But I knew I wasn't happy and I knew I wasn't doing the right thing for me. And that can always be a tough decision, but making the choice is one of the best things you can do.
Absolutely. And as a result, wasn't that freeing, Emilio, that once you made the decision, it's like that momentum kind of takes off, right? And if you guys didn't know this when I introduced Emilio as someone who's been in the entertainment business for years, he's someone who took that chance. As he mentioned, he lived in New York City for over a decade and then moved to LA. You can't be scared and live in two of the largest cities in the United States. I mean, the traffic alone would scare most people, right? So, supporting yourself, living in a big city, knowing very few people, because although my family originally is from New York, it's not like we had a lot of family living there at the time or a lot of friends. So you were able to take that risk professionally and personally and follow your dreams, right? And you were able to do that, coast to coast, New York, LA, now in Austin, Texas. So you guys, that's a great example of not letting fear take the wheel and drive that decision making. And as a result, right, Emilio, would you agree that, because I've mentioned this earlier in the introduction, that I don't think that any job is a waste of time. I think that one job can definitely lead to the next. And I think oftentimes you learn a certain skill set, even if it's just customer service. Let's talk about that for a minute. You guys, we are living in a world where if you can bring your A game to customer service, you talk about going far. Think about it, you guys. We have become an all-you-can-eat, pump it yourself, $9.99 world where people are craving customer service and quality and attention to detail. So if you can offer that, and then again, not be afraid to take a chance of moving out of town, out of state, pursuing your dreams, you're going to feel so different about your circumstances because you're giving it your best shot. And there is energy and positivity that comes when you do that. And people can sense it. When when you're following your dreams, even if it doesn't work out in a certain job and you decide to go this way instead and you take that pivot I mentioned earlier, people can feel it. It just kind of comes through your pores that you're somebody who's taking a risk, but you're professional, you're sensible, you're kind, you're enthusiastic. They can feel that energy, right, Emilio? And as a result, right, you've gotten offered different jobs while you're the job by even other people, even customers offering you jobs and clients because they just love your enthusiasm and your passion. And you can't be passionate about work, you guys, again, if you don't have the work ethic. Right, Emilio?
That's right.
All right, you guys. So as we start to wrap up, let me remind our audience, you guys, you can find all of our episodes on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. We also have a Dr. Dawn Shop Talk YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out as well. Now, of course, as you guys also know, we air this show each and every Monday. I do air that on the lunch hour. So it starts at 12. And because we want you to be able to join us on your lunch hour, we try to make sure it's around 30 minutes or so. But if you have questions or follow-up, please be sure to reach out to me anytime on Facebook or on our website as well. All right, you guys, as we wrap up, before we close, Emilio, did you have any other parting words for our audience today?
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, just I think you really wrapped it up. I think letting your work ethic speak for yourself is a great philosophy to have in life in general. And excellence begets more excellence.
Wonderfully put. And I'm not just saying that, you guys, because he's my brother. All right, you guys, on behalf of Emilio and myself, we hope you have a very happy rest of your Monday. Stay safe out there, you guys, and have a great rest of your week. Take care and bye-bye.